for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk may take the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Present.
Councilmember Middleton. Present. Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Present.
Councilmember Dundon,
Present.
Councilmember Costi,
Present.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Present.
Council President Matavetsky.
Present.
Thank you.
All right. We can move on to public comment. There's no one in the audience at the moment. Did we receive any comment via email by 1 p.m. today? All right, thank you. With that, we'll close that. So I will move on to mayoral veto. Can we reread that statement in? We read it at the last meeting, but we didn't have a quorum, so we'll just for consistency.
Absolutely. President Matavetsky, I have vetoed ordinance 2462, an ordinance to amend the code of the city of Binghamton, chapter 26. State law in this newly drafted version of our code require these materials be posted within 24 hours of the meeting to the extent practicable. The prior version of the law that was recently changed by council required that a digital copy of every proposed local law, ordinance, or resolution shall be available to the mayor and city of Binghamton employees at least 24 hours prior to its inclusion as first read legislation. I support this prior language as it places a stricter burden on city government to make sure that the public and city hall staff and employees are on notice of the items up for discussion by a public body. Prior to this veto message, I reached out to get input from council members. Part of the input I received is that there is good faith confusion as to what the extent practicable means legally. This deserves further discussion, as is exploring practical barriers in the posting of materials and the timeline of legislative actions. Keeping this local strict 24-hour requirement is a good backstop against costly litigation. If city council fails to publish its agenda and resolutions in accordance with state open meetings law, it opens the city to potential litigation, which could invalidate legislation. The litigation would require in-house legal resources to defend these claims or outside council expenses. In sum, I don't yet understand council's intent or have yet to hear a reasonable argument that requires this change. When dealing with matters of open government, we should err on the side of greater transparency and notice unless there is a compelling argument against it. Sincerely, Jared M. Cram, Mayor.
Thank you. All right. I would entertain a motion to override veto 024-62.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilman Dundon,
second.
seconded by Councilman Porter. Discussion. Councilman Hotchkiss.
Yeah, so I think I have already explained why I put this forward and the intent of it. I don't understand why the mayor doesn't think this has been described, because it was described when it was introduced, but it is to accommodate for extraneous situations, and this update more closely reflects what is in open meetings law at the state level right now. So I don't think it's going to run into any conflict with state law that will lead to any litigation or legal issues. So I don't have any problem moving forward with this.
Anyone else? Okay. Clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Yay.
Councilmember Middleton. Yay. Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Yay.
Councilmember Dundon,
Yay.
Councilmember Costi,
No.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
No.
Thank you. That is 5-2.
All right. The veto is overridden. There we go. Next, we move on to second read legislation. We'll start with introductory resolution R 24-64, considered in employees. Councilman Porter.
Yes, this is R 2464, resolution to adopt the ROA for elected officials.
Thank you. All right, is there a motion? Oh, yeah.
I'll
so that's the
second it.
motion. Sorry,
Second,
second,
sorry,
yeah.
make a
Motioned by
motion.
Councilman Porter,
Motion.
seconded by
Motion.
Councilman Middleton. Discussion. Councilman Kavanaugh.
So we have a choice to make here. At my request, there's two different versions of the reporting resolution here, one with a 7-hour workday, one with a 6-hour workday. The 7-hour workday has been used in the past in the city. We're required to submit between a 6 and 8 hour workday. I'm arguing that because of the weird hours we put in at weird times, we wouldn't be normally expected to work a longer workday. We have more scattered, shorter workdays. Examples from exemplar resolutions and such from the state retirement system note many times elected officials being at a 6 hour workday. So the present 7 hour has been used in the past. I think it's more appropriate for us to use a 6 hour workday for what we do, given the oddball nature of what we do. It does create a slight benefit for, accumulation of days wise. That's fairly marginal, but it is there. So I should flag that. I would also like to flag that contrary to the law in the packet, our last 4 digits of our social security numbers and our NICER's ID is in the public packet. So that needs to be redacted, please, before it goes in the final posting or posted for the 30 days, please. So I guess motion wise here, I don't know what to do. Anyone motion to amend for a 6 hour workday, I guess.
Second that motion.
Amendment by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Dundon. Discussion. Councilman Porter.
Help me understand again. So it was once a 6 hour.
8.
Wait, it was
The retirement system requires that we assign a standard workday length to each employee that is between 6 and 8 hours. So, and there's examples out there for different types of employees and often people that are coming in at odd times or, less than normal workday hours have a smaller workday, a shorter workday, so that you accumulate more overall days. So the city kind of, at some point, I don't know when or how long this has been going on, but landed at 7 in the middle. Again, examples from the retirement system frequently note 6 hours for elected officials. So I think we're not doing anything weird in adopting that. And just because of the scattered days and hours and weekends and things that we have to do things, I think it's more appropriate to give us that little bit of extra counting of days.
So what? Is the 7 hours more the more extra, or are you talking about more
No,
more than
So-
7?
Right, so say you worked, whatever, 60 hours in a month, that gets divided by either 7 to arrive at a number of days or 6 to arrive at a number of days that accrue toward retirement. So,
Okay.
Any further discussion? Okay, so just to make sure we're clear here, we're not actually changing any of the language of the resolution. The amendment that is being proposed relates to which of the attachments we attach with the submission,
correct.
just so everyone knows what we're voting on. So that was the discussion on the
On the motion, correct?
yeah, that was, on the motion relating to attaching the 6 hour sheet as opposed to the 8 hour sheet to the 6 hour sheet as opposed to the 7 hour sheet to the resolution. So if there's no more discussion on that, do we want to take a vote on? Again, the motion is
amendment.
the 6 hour, attaching the 6 hour sheet.
Okay.
Yep, okay, well, clerk can call a roll.
Councilmember Porter.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton. Aye. Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi.
Aye. Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
Okay, so now we return to the resolution with the attachment of the 6 hour worksheet. If there's no more discussion, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
Next, we move on to first read legislation, and we have introductory ordinance 024-67 considered in finance. Councilman Kavanaugh.
Okay.
Motion to pass ordinance 02467, an ordinance to amend the 2024 Binghamton Johnson City Sewage Treatment Facility budget to increase BAF fiber optic repair.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Dundon. Discussion.
So obviously we had a fairly dramatic presentation about this at work session. There's some emergency repairs that need to be done due to metal rods ending up in concrete where they're not supposed to be, and in fact in electrical conduit where they're certainly not supposed to be, creating extremely hazardous conditions for the workers at the treatment plant, and we need to address this basically immediately. So I urge passage.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton. Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
The ordinance passes. Next, we have introductory ordinance 024-68 considered in employees. Councilman Porter.
Introductory to 02468. That's an ordinance to change the title from water plant operator to water plant operator trainee. I make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Porter, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion.
This basically was when Jeff Kruger came down, and he was mentioning that he had to make some adjustments, and for that, it would be better to have the trainee in place of that, because of certain things that was in place to fit on the budget, I guess, the budget, to work into the budget. So I think this is something that is well needed. Oh,
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter.
aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
The ordinance passes. Next, we have introductory ordinance 024-69 considered in finance. Councilman Kavanaugh.
I motion for the passage of 024-69, an ordinance to amend the 2024 general fund budget and insurance fund budget to adjust for additional legal fees and expenses.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion. Councilman Porter.
I was wondering if there we can have a motion for a holdover, for the information is for more information is needed to committee, or to committee.
Oh, since the finance committee, you would like to motion to have another finance committee meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay, so there's a motion to hold over. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilman Porter, seconded by Councilman Hotchkiss. Discussion on the holdover. Anything? Councilman Hotchkiss.
So I received some of the information that I had requested during the finance committee meeting, so I didn't have a really good chance to review it prior to and ask questions. I think that's kind of unfortunate, but I was ready to vote on it, but if you wanted to hold over, I'm supporting it.
The reason why I want to hold over is some information is still need to be looked through. And I just find some things, just want to look over this a little subject to me, so.
All right, if there are no further discussion points on this, we can call a
Well,
vote on the Councilman Kavanaugh.
well, that was not gonna be what I was gonna say. I thought that we had. Anyway. But. That's a procedural. Right? So part of the charter says just one person plus a second creates a holdover, but then it also says we have to vote on everything. So. I don't know, that's to be resolved at some point. But what I was going to say was, um. Just trying to. I think there are larger discussions that a lot of us want to have about the legal department's evolution and some legitimate concerns about how many was about, overruns from last year and some more realistic budgeting. And I think Corporation Council's willing to have that discussion during budgeting. And this is more about getting the immediate bills paid. But if members still have more pointed questions or relevant questions or stuff you still want to go over and would like me to have another finance meeting or want to have those questions answered directly, please just forward the questions or other data that you want and we'll get it taken care of. So hopefully we can, continue to pay our bills. That's all. So.
Councilman Dundon.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Council Member Kavanaugh on paying the bills, but I don't want to see another finance committee meeting. I think we need to do an executive session meeting so we can actually go over some of those legal expenses and be able to talk openly with corporate counsel that we don't have to worry about being on the camera or anything. I think that would be the way to go for us to be able to answer our questions and to educate ourselves properly moving forward with the budget season.
I think that could work too.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. Excuse me.
All right. So,
I,
would you like to jump in? We can turn on your mic. Corporation Counsel.
Yeah, I mean, there are only certain exceptions when we can go into executive session during a meeting. I'm happy to meet with counsel one-on-one as an attorney-client meeting to answer any questions that you have. If you decide that you want to do an executive session during any meeting, as long as it falls under one of the exceptions. If it's to discuss a settlement or something that would impede law enforcement there are very specific exceptions, which Council President, you and I have talked about. But I think we can certainly do a meeting and I can address any questions that council has in an attorney-client setting.
Okay.
So-
All right. So there's a motion to hold over and it was seconded. We had our discussion. So we're going to take a vote on the holdover.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton. Aye. Councilmember Kavanaugh,
nay.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
No.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
That is 5-2. Thank you.
All right. So, introductory ordinance 024-68 will be held over. Sorry, 69. Thank you. Held over. And we will attempt to get whatever information we need so that we can get this on the September 11th meeting. So we can keep things moving. Okay. Next, we have introductory ordinance 024-70 considered in finance. Councilman Kavanaugh.
Okay, this is resolution I would like to motion for passage of ordinance 024-70, an ordinance to amend the 2024 general fund budget for city clerk's office salary adjustment for the senior licensing clerk.
Moved by Councilman Kavanaugh,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Hotchkiss. Discussion.
All right.
Kavanaugh.
Yes. Our current senior licensing clerk is a exemplary employee, I think, in many regards, and has been working practically double duty. And this salary adjustment makes utter sense. And we were at serious risk of losing her to another to another position. So this is a well-deserved and necessary adjustment, and I urge passage.
And I just wanted to agree.
Councilman Middleton.
I just wanted to agree with Robert. It definitely is well deserved. I think when you think of like the clerk's office, they really are the core of the city, and they really help us day to day, not only us, but most of City Hall in Binghamton. So I agree with what Kavanaugh said. Yeah, and thank you, Sherry. She's amazing. Thank you so much.
All right. Yes, we definitely see her working hard,
Yes,
constantly as we're
yes, thank you.
walking through. All right. So with that, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky,
Aye.
7-0. Thank you.
Okay, the ordinance passes. Next we have introductory resolution R 24-65, considered in municipal and public affairs. Councilman Middleton.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 24-65. It's a resolution to extend the agreement of the school resource officers for 24-25.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Middleton, seconded by Councilman Dundon. Discussion.
I would just say that this is just us basically going into an agreement that has already been that has been going on for a while. I'm going to vote yes on this, but I do think that in future references, I feel like the city and the schools, like they should all be more conjoined and together kind of in all of this. That's just my perspective. I think we as a city and Binghamton City Schools, we need to work closely together, not only with the resource officers, but just in general needs for the youth. So
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilman Hotchkiss.
Yep, I've got a few thoughts on this. We were provided a little excerpt from a survey that contains some information about the student perception of SROs. And I think there's definitely mixed reviews. I think it was reported to us by the Deputy Mayor Megan Hyman as 75% being very comfortable with SROs, but I think that's kind of discounts that 25% of students are having a negative experience, either very negative or uncomfortable experience with SROs in their schools. So I think that's something that we really need to consider. And I think what I would like to see at the very least is that part of this agreement has some type of assessment that happens. Because I'm not really comfortable with having 25% of students having negative experiences every day. And I think there's a few other things that it's just like they're not all comfortable with reporting to SROs about bullying or fighting. So I think baking some type of assessment into this agreement would be a positive step for understanding the student and SRO relationship. And we could also include staff, the school staff, into that.
Wouldn't a survey be an assessment though?
Yeah, it's not routine. So this was a one-off, and I think there was calls for having another one that I don't believe happened. In one of the other presentations that were provided to us, there was a reference to a study that indicated about 48% of schools that have SRO programs do have some type of a assessment system, just to get continuous feedback on how they're doing and what the perception is. And yeah, I think that would be valuable. So
Councilman Dundon.
Well, I can't speak on any survey, but I had 4 children go through East Middle School and Binghamton High School. And all they talked about was how great Officer Williams was, who was the SRO at East Middle School for years. And one graduated in 2015, then 2020, 2022, and 2024. So there was a gap in the years that they were in school there, and they all loved dealing with the SRO and Officer Williams.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so obviously the superintendent was really quick to give us more information. One of the things that I was interested in was teacher and staff retention and how this interplays with that in addition to student perspectives. It didn't seem like that was in there unless I missed it. So I, in terms of recalling and requesting in the future, more looks at how it's being assessed. That's something that I think is really important is, you know, how the teachers and staff perceive the system. So I reached out to well, I was talking to a constituent about something else and I happened to be thinking about this and picked their brain about it. The constituent was telling me how back when they were a student at Binghamton, they were the type of student that got into trouble and had maybe not the most personal, joyous interactions with SRO. I don't know if it was called that back in the day, but those types of interactions. But as a mom now, that she was positive on that was I got a little bit more details on that, but I'll keep them private. But yes, I think based on both the interest of the superintendent and the school district, and obviously the school boards behind this, I think that has a strong impact on me as well as my conversation with the constituent. All right, is there anybody else want to say anything? Clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Hey.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Nay.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 5-2.
Right, the resolution passes. Next, we have our 24-66 considered in Public Works and Parks. Councilmember Dundon.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion on resolution R 24-66. It's a resolution to accept a $1,000 grant for the Broome County Naturalist Club.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion?
Yeah, I just want to state a little bit for the public. So the Broome County Naturalist Club applied and received this grant in the amount of $5,000 from the CLE Foundation to purchase a tower viewer to be donated to the city of Binghamton, right around the MacArthur Park area, if I remember correctly.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion? I think Councilmember Costi and I will probably be checking it out over in the south side, assuming this vote goes as it probably will. Okay, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
Okay, the resolution passes. Next, we have R 24-67 considered in employees. Councilmember
Point of
Porter.
order was actually in
What?
finance.
Oh, it was in finance. Oh, sorry.
The resolution's right, the end is wrong.
Thank you. Passing it over to Councilmember Kavanaugh, as it was considered in finance.
Right. I'd like to motion for passage of R 24-67, a resolution authorizing city clerk and deputy city clerk salary increase.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Dundon. Discussion. Councilman Porter.
Excuse me. I think that the city clerk and deputy clerk who seem to be being paid the less throughout the city, city hall. I feel that they've done enough work, been multifaceted as well as multitasked. And all the things that they have done for us, and I feel the salary increase would be sufficient of being at 3.5, but I feel it should be more, but 3.5 is the way where it goes on. And I feel because of this and because of the things and the lack of staff that we have within the city clerk's office is it's imperative that they get this increase.
Thank you. Councilman Kavanaugh.
Right. So there is a procedure for doing this laid out in the city charter. It was amended at the end of 2022. So this would have been the first time it was put in, it would be used. It has some pretty strict deadlines and things council would have to do with the employees committee holding a meeting at a certain time to get a resolution to council at a certain time to consider it to get to the mayor at a certain time. The whole point of that is to get a resolution to the mayor in time for the mayor to consider it in doing the budget. All the resolution has the power to do is ask the mayor to include it in the budget for his consideration for the mayor's consideration is the language in section 4 of that part of the charter. So we missed those strict deadlines that were set up and that I think are too strict, and we should probably change them back. Because we're still acting in time to get information to the mayor before before the budget gets published, or before he puts his budget. So we're left with two options. One, we can deal with this during budget talks and move money, assuming we all agree that the clerks deserve a salary increase. There would be moving money out of contingency funds or reserve funds and putting it into that line, which is a little bit of a hassle. This option coming to the finance committee is basically a late resolution asking the mayor to do what the other process is asking, which is to just include it in the budget. I think the mayor recognizes the work the clerks do, and I think I certainly hope will be in support of this very modest increase. And this is, just making that request of him. It is not in the form that the process city charter lays out, but it has the same effect. And since the city charter process is only a request anyway, this can't hurt. It's giving him notice of our intent and our desire. And I think this is a very modest ask for the clerks, and I hope he supports it. And we don't. It's essentially saving us a hassle during budget season. So that's why I'm hoping it works. Is that clear, or maybe not?
Well, I just find it quite interesting that we're going to put all our hopes into him doing something right. Don't seem like he has been able to do so in attention of helping any of us on city council or the city clerks. So
Yeah.
It's putting the ball in the net, and
but
how he chooses.
But once we put that in, what are we going to do? What are we going to do then? If he doesn't do right by, or have a soul to do so by doing right.
Then we're back to moving money during the budget. During budget.
Just to piggyback what Robert's saying, basically, we're just doing this in good faith, like we're just like processes and steps. Even though we don't know the outcome, we're still doing it in good faith.
In good faith, that hasn't been working so far. We've been doing, and he hasn't been acting right. So good faith has been screwing us over so far.
I would just say when we reach that road, we'll get there. figure it out when we get there,
Okay,
right?
all right. I'm gonna say I told you so.
Okay. You can. You can.
It costs.
I'm okay with, I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. Just as a thing, a protocol and just using good faith to get there. But when we get there, we'll get there. If we get there.
Thank you, Councilwoman Middleton. Anyone else for discussion?
Yeah, I would.
Councilman Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I would point out, if you watch our riveting finance committee meeting, you will get to see the comptroller look at the section of the charter and say, I didn't even realize this was part of the chart. I mean, so it's a process. I don't think, it's something I thought, sure, but it's new enough and obscure enough that I don't think we should kick ourselves too hard for missing this particular procedural knot. Anyway.
Anyone else? Okay. The clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton, Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky. Thank you. That is 7-0.
All right, the resolution passes. Next, we have introductory resolution R 24-69 considered in finance. Councilman Kavanaugh. I skipped one. Yep. 68, also considered in finance.
Okay. I'd like to motion to pass introductory resolution 24-68, a resolution authorizing an agreement with First Ward Action Council Incorporated for the use of home chodo funding.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion. Councilman Kavanaugh.
So this resolution and 2469, I'm all right, are essentially related. They're doing the same thing for two different organizations. So I'll just kind of what's going on. We had previously supported for Action Council with $500,000 of public money in support of their scattered site project that's going for homes and community renewal tax credit money from the state to finance the rehabilitation of, I think it's 17 properties and the construction of a new building for moderate, low income and senior housing. That project, and neither of these projects were funded in the last round of HCR. In order to strengthen their applications, the state has sort of indicated that an increased amount of local dollars would be very, very much smiled upon, essentially moving over the 7-figure mark. These two allocations would move our support for both of these projects over that hump, showing significant local commitment in public funding for these low-income and senior projects. Kearney Construction, that's the 2469, is a brand new building. It's the Stadium District Lofts. A very promising project as well. This money is specifically targeted for CHODOs, so you have to be a community home development organization, community housing development organization, I think. And some of it's been sitting since we're in fiscal year 50 of this program, I believe. Some of this dates back to fiscal year 47. So this is money sitting in the city coffers, waiting to be allocated to projects. These are two eligible projects from some of the only organizations that would be able to apply for them. So basically, these resolutions are both promises that the city will allocate this money to them, give them the check when the project gets approved by the HCR process and they get the tax credits. If that doesn't happen, we don't do anything. This money still sits in the city coffers and can be reallocated to other eligible CHODO projects. So we are making a promise, but it's not money out the door yet, and can easily be reallocated if the projects don't get funded. So I think this is a valuable boost to their efforts. And I Oh, this is my phrase of the night. I urge passage of both these resolutions. Thanks.
Councilman Hotchkiss.
Yeah, I just gotta correct you, Councilman Kavanaugh. The Curie Realty Development Group did not have an application in this past year.
Thank you for that correction.
So, well, at least they didn't have one in for the Stadium Lofts. I think they had one in somewhere else that they didn't want to compete, and that's what
You're correct. Right.
Sarah Gloss had communicated the other work session.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
I think my main thing is, I think we are again in a position where it feels like there's like favoritism. I think all of us want to see the First Word Action Council project happen, and we've already awarded funding towards it and supported the Restore New York application. I wish there was an opportunity for us to explore some of the other developers in the community that have like presented to us, and trying to fund those projects. And for some reason, it seems like there's always money that is flowing to these other developers. But when there's one that we want to consider, it's not considered by the city at large. So that's really my.
You mean the state, right? Because they're not certified with the state.
I mean, I think the city could help them get their state certification or whatever. Or they were also qualified for ARPA funding, and they probably would have been able to figure out how to get the home ESG funding. So there's all these different sources of funding that we just keep overlooking. Southern Door Community Land Trust, which literally has like community built into the name. But so that's really my criticism. I'm happy to vote for the First Word Action Council, but it seems like I don't know. I don't know how these decisions are made, and I would like to have a closer review of what the options are for which developments or applications we're supporting with this funding. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of transparency, because I know there's a lot of different active applications that we are supporting to different extents, and I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me. That's all.
Thank you. Any further discussion? When we had the votes relating to Restore New York, we were concerned about the possible conflict in terms of the competition at the state level, and we had a long discussion about whether or not it was better to have 2 tickets or 1 ticket. I don't know if we need to rehash that, but I'll just kind of remind ourselves of that discussion. Any further discussion? Okay, with that, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Nay.
Councilmember Middleton. Aye. Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That is
Okay.
6-1.
The resolution passes. Next, we have our 24-69 considered in finance, Councilman Kavanaugh.
Okay, I'd like to motion for adoption of R 2469, a resolution authorizing an agreement with Kearney Realty and Development Group for use of home Chodo funding.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion. Councilman Porter.
I'm in agreement with Councilman Hotchkiss. It seems that sometimes certain people are favored or certain things are favored and people are disregarded. So my agreement is the same with Councilman Hotchkiss when it comes to these things that is supposed to be helpful for low income. And it seems that certain developers and maybe even private companies are getting the bulk instead of actually helping other developers. And hopefully we have someone to certify before some of these other developers that could qualify for some of these things. So.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilman Kavanaugh.
I distinctly remember our discussion and my reservations about the supporting multiple projects issue from the Restore New York discussion. I feel similarly here in that we have a local based Chodo and First Word Action Council, and we have an out of town developer in Kearney. So that does give me pause, and I would prefer that we had more local Chodos, and I think we should, for example, if Southern Door is eligible to go through that process to get that certification, and then we are able to help with that, I think that's a step we can take. I know if B is another local Chodo, I don't know how many others we have, but we should encourage it as this money keeps coming. Having said that, I think it's hard to argue against the merits of either of these projects, and that's who's up kind of at the table right now, in this current funding round. And again, if the project does not go through, we don't put out the money. It's not money that can be thrown out there for a lot of pre-development costs and stuff. So we can take it back and or we've never actually given. This is essentially promised to give it. So that's kind of my thinking on it. But I absolutely appreciate Councilman Hotchkiss and Councilman Porter's general position on that we should be developing more local housing development resources and funding them adequately.
Anyone else? All right, clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Nay.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Nay.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 5-2.
Okay, the resolution passes. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Porter, seconded by Councilman Dundon.